All right. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Secrets from the Saddle, all things cycling. And I just want to remind you to go to our website, cyclingskillspro.com, for all the latest cycling programs, courses, and webinars and clinics that are local with regards to cycling. For hours, has everything to do with getting your cycling skills, form, and technique in an intense short time. With that, have an amazing day. Don't forget to ride your bike, and remember, you're only one pedal stroke away from cycling like a pro. Here we go. Hey everyone, thank you so much for coming out for another episode of Secrets from the Saddle here with host Sylvie, and I am super excited to bring this amazing man back to the podcast. This is Hunter Allen. He's sitting in Virginia, and he is the owner of Peaks Coaching Group. He's also the co-founder of TrainingPeaks. Possibly a lot of you are familiar with that training pro. That's all I hear about nowadays. He has, he's got his own coaching business, like I was just saying. And he's got training camps. So today we are coming back for an update as to what he's been doing. So I highly recommend that you go and you listen to the first podcast that we did in 2018. It's one of the first ones that I put out on Secrets from the Saddle. Get his background and then come back and listen to this one. Not that it matters, but you might as well get a bit of a background on Hunter. And so today we're going to have kind of like an open discussion, because Hunter's going to talk about coaching, not coaching, but like training. What are you doing now that it's into the new year? And then we're going to banter around about that. And then we're going to talk about transition from trainer to road. And then we're going to talk about gravel. How fun is that? Who's got a gravel bike? I don't yet. But I've got an order on one, just like probably a lot of people. Get your orders down on bikes now before they disappear as soon as they get off the boat, But Hunter, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you back here. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me back. I'm excited to give you kind of an update, and great to see you again. And lots of fun stuff happening here. Yeah.
So let's talk about what everybody's doing, and we know what everybody's doing. They're sitting on their trainer on one of the key few profiles, like Ruby, I've heard one. Swift is another big one. Trainer Rogue, I think maybe is the third one. I don't know if there's a fourth one.
I use all of them, and for different reasons, to be honest. Like I have a bunch of clients around the world, and we do trainer road rides. And so it's really nice because I can do a workout there, and here's a group workout, and my client and I are on the bike together. We see each other, we're riding in a group setting, and it doesn't matter where they are, whether they're in Colorado or Brazil or wherever, and we get to do that. So that's super fun. And then I've been doing a lot of Zwift as well, because one, it's just fun to have that group dynamic. That's really always great to be in a group. And then I also even do the group meetups with other clients as well, because that's excellent too. So that's a lot of fun, and we can do a workout. And we've had a bunch of group meetups where you just invite all kinds of people in and get them on. So that's been great. And then Ruby's
so have you been using a Facebook group for that, or is that on Zwift? That's just on Zwift?
Yeah, on Zwift. Yes, on Zwift.
Okay. Yeah, I've been doing that too. Isn't that fun?
Yeah. No, it's great. It's fun. Exactly right. And the group meetup thing, it's not perfect the way that Zwift has done it, but at the same time, it's like good enough, and that's really nice. So I can get we can get 100 people on there, and that's really good to have.
So, do you really?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Wow. Anyways, just add me to your invite list.
right? Well, you have to follow me, right? So
Oh,
remember,
yes, that's
you got to
right.
go
I'm
on
learning all this stuff.
Zwift,
Just a
go
second. I'll
on the
go on
Zwift
my,
companion app on your
yeah, I'm gonna
phone.
go find
You got to
you.
follow me. Then once you
Like,
follow me, then I can invite you. So yeah, totally.
okay, hold on. Keep talking. I'm just gonna go find you because I'm all new to this. It's like, what do you mean I have to have this extra stuff? I'm like, where is
Right,
that? Okay.
no. And then, but you gotta be careful too on Zwift. I mean, I think that's one thing that the cautionary tale is. Well, there's kind of two trains of thought, and I've talked
Yeah.
about this with all of our clients at Peaks Coaching Group, and then one is, well, okay, you could treat this whole winter as your racing season, right? You could
Oh,
just say, well,
definitely.
gosh, I don't know when the races are going to come back in 2021. I don't know if my big peak event's going to be here. I mean,
Hmm.
fingers crossed, we're all going to be doing lots of events next year or this year. But at the same time, it's like, well, guaranteed you could race all winter long in Zwift and do all kinds of series and have lots of fun.
Yeah.
So there are definitely lots of people who have taken that idea and said, well, you know what? I'm just going to race in Zwift all winter long. Now, the downside of doing,
Yeah, let's hear the downside, Coacher Hunter Allen.
well, number one, you can't race every day, so don't try.
Yeah.
um, and two, once that's over, let's say you go all the way through March or something, you're probably gonna ride poorly for a couple of months. So just know that, I mean, our bodies, they work in cycles, right? We have cycles of improvement, we have cycles of time where we need rest, and cycles when our bodies are very tired and we have to rest. So if you spend a lot of time riding and racing in Zwift this winter, be careful if that means that your goals are in April and May of this coming year and you really want to crush them then, because that's going to be a challenging time for you. Now, June,
Hmm.
July, August would be fine, but just give
Yeah.
yourself that downtime so you can kind of come back up again. So
Yeah, it's
that's,
kind of like, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's kind of like having that down season from the season. Like November, October, November is usually, the down season, down,
Exactly.
like some rest time from, the summer. And I get it. Like I could see people doing lots of that, and everybody's just egging everybody on. They've got to be with meeting that group or riding with that group and that group. And I'm glad I'm just part of one group because like I went on one group ride meetup and I'm like completely redlining it just to stay with the group. And even though we're like all tethered together, which is supposed to, so you don't have to, but I'm just like, it was a competitive part of me, I'm like, I felt like I'm dropping off and I gotta, boost myself up. I'm like, okay, this isn't very good for my training right now.
Right, right, exactly. So that's the one way of thinking, and then the other way of thinking is, wow, I'm using this as a great supplement for my winter training, and it's a
Hmm.
way to keep my winter training focused. And so then that way you're using it as, okay, cool, I'm gonna have trainertainment, I can ride on here. Maybe I ride my easy days here just for something to do. Then I've got some focused workouts that I do.
Yeah.
And maybe you do once a week, you do a hard group ride or race kind of thing.
Hmm.
And that's fine, especially if it's like, wow, it's only 45 minutes or something. Once a week, you do that once a week. It's not going to destroy your spring season of
Hmm.
riding or whatever. It's going to be fine. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fit. You're going to be fit. It's good to stay fit in the winter. I think that's really important. We don't want to like be at the top of our peak fitness in January, of course, but
Yeah, that's right.
um,
Now, so what do you tell your client who's just like, but like I can't help myself, or like I feel like I'm missing out, and you're like, so what does the coach tell the client in this instance? Do you have
yeah,
a good sit down chat? Well,
yep. Gotta have a little sit down chat, a little heart to heart,
yeah, yeah.
and just come back to goals, right? And
Hmm.
explain, okay, well, your goals are, here in the middle of May or or the beginning of June. And what does it mean to have a periodization cycle? What does it mean that in terms of how your body responds to training, how long it's going to take to improve, how long it needs to recover, all those things. So that way you can really see like what's, bring them back to the basics so that they can understand the why, because it's so important
Yeah.
to understand why am I doing something or why am I not doing something. And if you can explain that to somebody and they get it, then it's like, okay, all right, I understand why you're telling me I can only race once a week or I only race every other week or whatever.
Mm-hmm. You're like,
So.
and that's why you're paying me to tell you this. That's
Exactly.
right. You did pay me to tell you this.
Exactly.
Because
You
I know
both.
I'm just watching all these. And you were just saying that you were having more engagement in your inquiries for coaching. I
Mm-hmm.
would imagine it's probably because at the beginning of Christmas, and this is kind of what I was thinking is that beginning of Christmas or like in the fall, everybody's like, I can do my own thing on Swift. I don't need a coach, da 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 da. And then once the New Year's is kind of like, okay, I'm like probably really tired now and I don't know what to do to train effectively because I've been just like redlining it for like the last 4 weeks. And now I'm not sure
Why
anymore.
am I not getting any better and my watts are going
Yeah,
down now?
that's right. Why am I not getting any better? Has
Totally.
that been like
So
kind of the inquiries?
yeah, and I think there's a lot of I think people are getting excited about 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of enthusiasm for 2021, which is so great because so much of that is that great positive attitude is what's going to help us, go do events and be
Mm-hmm.
okay with all these events and stuff. So I think that's really great to see. Um, Two, millions and millions of bicycles have been bought this past year by people who never bought bicycles before, or they haven't ridden bicycles since they were like a kid,
I
and now
know.
they bought bicycles, and so they're loving it. I mean, I had a fall camp in October, the end of October. We had 4 out of 17 people come, and they just got a bicycle in March of this past year, and they're coming to a cycling
Wow.
camp, and it's like, yeah, 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 exactly. And now they had, one was a runner, one was a swimmer, and one was another competitive cross-trained guy. So they were already fit, but they just
Yeah.
didn't have all the cycling skills, the etiquette, how do we ride in a pace line, what do we do, how do we sprint, how do we climb out of the saddle? I mean, all the things that you need, right, as a
Yeah. Let's
cyclist.
make you safe on the
So
road.
yeah, and around everybody else.
Yeah, that's right. I love it.
Um, yeah, so I think that's going to be. I mean, to me, that's what we're starting to see, and I think that's Sylvia. That's one of the things that is most. I mean, I'm super excited about because our
Mm-hmm.
future in cycling is so bright, and that the fact that this year and the next 2 years after this, 2022, 2023, is we're going to have this massive influx of new bicycle racers, Grand Fondo riders, people who are serious about cycling. And that's so fun because, I mean, a lot of people who bought bicycles, they're going to, stop or, they did it 5 times and they're like, oh, this isn't for me or whatever. But I think we're going to see a lot of people
I
who are making it through the ranks.
I have that feeling too. And here in Ottawa, like everything was sold out. But the thing is that, and I want to ask you because you're sitting in the States. The States is a whole other ball game for what's going on compared to Canada here. Um, my, I want to know what your feeling is. Like, do you work with like Cycling USA or like is it
Yeah,
or is
USA
it
Cycling.
yeah, do you work closely with them?
I have in the past. I used to
Yeah,
sit on
okay.
their committee. I haven't been so much in the past 2 years.
But
But
and the reason why I ask is do you find that people are starting to think about taking advantage of the fact that there are so many new cyclists out there. Do you know what I mean? Like
Right.
the events, like the clinics, the bike clubs. Cause I know here in Ottawa, like I think like there was like 3 new women's only clubs that like sprung out of the earth, like
Sweet.
overnight. You're just like,
That's awesome.
but there was lots of meetups.
Right.
No, not clubs, but that there's like at least 3 or 4 that were new and led by, you know, other like say pro riders or just, but it was really cool to see because I have a women's cycling club myself and we've been around, this is our 13th year. So I think that it's going to be a great, like a lot of people are going to be looking for clubs like that. And what are your feelings for like say around your area? Because Virginia is a big cycling
Yeah.
area.
I mean, I think the same thing, right? I mean, I think that the same feeling is happening here, where people, one, are clamoring for information and knowledge about how to do this the right way and how to be safe and how to
Yeah.
ride with groups. So, I mean, there is a huge opportunity for us as cycling coaches and for bicycle shops and for clubs to fill that need to say, wow, okay, look, we're going to have a beginner weekend clinic, you know, come and learn how to, you know, ride safely with a group, or let's go mountain biking and we're going to teach you how to bunny hop, or let's go gravel riding and we're going to teach you how to go around the turn safely. I mean, all these things I think are going to be a huge demand. And I think that's going to be where it's up to us as cycling coaches and people who are passionate and have knowledge and years of experience to be able to share that knowledge and say, hey, let's come and do this. Come to a cycling camp. Come to a weekend clinic. Come get some coaching. Come go to the bike shop and figure out how to change a tire, you know, or a tube or whatever, you know. So that's going to be, I mean, our future is so bright right now in cycling. I'm just so excited about it. It's really cool.
I know, I liked it. Like, I love hearing your enthusiasm. It's not quite the same over here. I don't know why, but I'm just like, hey guys, like this is amazing opportunity to start recruiting, like from, you know, teenagers, you know, all the way up to masters. Like, oh my gosh, could we develop some new teams? Like, I don't know, but you know, I don't think that we should leave this for, you know, without doing something, you know what I mean? And I love the fact that you guys are super excited. Like, do you have a club associated with your coaching business, or?
No, I don't. I mean, we have, you know, I have coaches all over the country and all over the world, but, and then each kind of coach, sometimes, not everybody, it just kind of depends on their coach and what they like to do, but they've created their own little kind of pockets in those areas. So that's been really fun to have that. But for me in Virginia and where I'm home based, I'm doing so many other things that's just like, I don't have time for one more thing.
Yeah, that's right. Group rides. Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, I have to say, like, I'm glad that I have an exceptional group of ladies who do a lot of that work for me. I'm like you know, I bring all the ideas, and then, you know, anyways, they do a great job. I used to do all that.
I understand.
Like, yeah, you know what I mean? As we grow, we need to have people who are much better at that than me. All right, so do you have any more great coaching advice for those who are, now it's January, let's start thinking about you know, how are you feeling, and what your goals are for the summer?
Yeah, absolutely. So thinking about January, especially kind of transitioning, each month for me always has a goal. I mean, one, I'm super goal oriented and I try and bring that to all of our clients. But you know, you got to think about, okay, how am I building fitness over time so that I reach my peak when I want to. So in general, January is a time where you're transitioning from, okay, wow, December was laying my foundation of fitness, I like to call it. And then once I've laid that foundation, then I'm going to kind of layer on top of that a little more intensity. So I start to do what we call sweet spot training in January. So a little more where you're riding underneath your FTP. You're spending time there. And then from there, doing things that are making sure that you keep your ability to change speeds. So, so much of riding outside is, the surgy nature, bursty nature of up and back and forth, and I got to get on this wheel, or I've got to go up this hill, or whatever. And so if you lose that of just kind of droning along all winter long, then you're really going to struggle in the spring. So cadence-based work, fast pedaling drills, big gear intervals at the end of January. That's when you start doing what I call tractor pulls, especially for those of you who have done, who have a weight training or gym kind of workout in the winter. We need to take that strength that you've gained in the gym and then transition that into the pedaling motion, right? So how do I take, wow, I can squat all this more weight now, or I can do all this stuff with my quads that I haven't been able to do before, but I need to actually make it so that I can pedal that, use that in a pedaling motion. So tractor pulls are really good, especially starting the end of January all through February, where you slow down, you go down to about 5 miles an hour, maybe 10 kilometers an hour. And you can do this on a trainer. You can do it indoors, outdoors, wherever, it doesn't matter. You put it in the biggest gear you've got. So whatever your big chain ring is and the smallest cog in the back. You grab the handlebars on the drop part of the handlebars. You stay seated, and then you just jump on that gear and try and create as much force and as much torque as you can on the pedals, and start to wind that gear up and start to pedal against it. So when you're doing it on a trainer, it's a little tricky the first couple of times, because you need to find a resistance that isn't like a wall of watts, and it's just like, oh, stop. Right?
What if you don't have a smart trainer, like you have a dumb trainer?
Well, a dumb trainer.
Yeah, this one up against the back wheel. I can't even move it anymore. It's sitting on the rim.
Right, exactly. So you got to kind of play with that and on the indoor trainer to find the right amount of resistance. But your goal is to create the most maximum force that you can with the muscles, just like you're lifting weights, and you do it for 20 to 30 seconds. At 30 seconds, you should be pedaling at 80 RPM or higher.
Really? Okay. I'm writing notes.
Force to really cause strength adaptations, improvements in your strength. Okay, so 30 seconds or about 80, 85 RPM, whichever comes first, and that's when you stop the interval. You're done then at that point. So those are tractor pulls. They're if you ever raced on the track in the velodrome, they're kind of like standing starts. They're basically standing starts.
Okay, got that.
So those are great.
So would you start those in a standing start?
I seated. So these are better seated, because then that helps with the recruitment of the upper body and keeping this core and upper body connected into the hips and getting that down into the pedals. So I like that better.
I like it. Tractor pull, maximum force.
But those are great. Those are great to do in February and stuff. And just kind of think about winter as a way that how do we move through each phase of training so that we're layering on top of one another. And that means that, well, especially for a lot of us, living places where the weather is going to be bad, and gosh, I can only handle so much on the trainer in terms of an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever that is. So we're going to be missing the endurance component come April, right? When we start riding outside more. So we need to kind of do what they call reverse periodization, and you have a little more intensity now, and then you end up doing more endurance and stuff as weather gets a
Right.
little bit better. So there's lots of ways to approach it.
Hmm. I'm just taking some notes here.
That's good.
Because
No
I have
worries.
my 16-week program, and so right now we're getting into, so we did our base building December. Now we're getting into strength, power, and speed. So I guess maybe I've have it backwards, like kind of doing like the strength stuff, but I think we do more like this in February. We're
Yeah.
just getting more of the speed, like more of the drills coming off of like, a lot of tempo stuff and things like that. But
Yeah.
I like that. I'm gonna add
Yeah.
that to my repertoire of interval
And
drills.
to always remember what are your goals, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
that has a big impact. And when are your goals? It has a big impact on the phase of training and how long that phase of training may last. So it's like, well, gosh, my big goal of the year is July. So then you would extend, January's
Yeah.
tempo kind of work all the way through February, and maybe not even start doing some of that stuff until March. So it really kind of depends a little bit on your goals and then the timing of those.
Yeah. Well, our program finishes end of March. So technically that's kind of like the time that everybody's kind of ready to get back on the road. And last year, I think we were on the road by end of March cycling.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like we were just, and of course we couldn't group ride together until July. So everybody was just riding all over the place by themselves. But that's, so transition from, so let's talk a little bit about transitioning from, this is a good segue to, getting off that trainer, getting onto the road, like you're saying, like a little bit of reverse periodization, where you
Yeah.
kind of go back to the base building.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that's where, one, keeping ourselves fit and throughout the winter is really important. And then that allows you to come into that, okay, wow, I'm getting off the trainer now. It's the end of March, and I'm already fairly fit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty happy with my fitness or whatever, but now I need that muscular fatigue resistance, right? I need to be able to ride for 3 or 4 hours without getting cramps, without my power coming down. So there's two different words in English that a lot of people confuse. Number one is endurance, and number two is stamina. So endurance is the ability to do something for a long time. Okay, so let's say, for example, wow, I wanted to go ride for 12 hours, and I'm just going to go ride my bike for 12 hours. All right, just being able to go do that is endurance, right? That's okay, cool. We're all endurance athletes. We like doing this kind of stuff. That's what we do. Stamina, though, is the ability to hold a high power for a longer and longer and longer time. Okay, so a lot of times what we actually need is more stamina and not so much that endurance piece. So for example, let's kind of put numbers on it from a wattage perspective. So let's say your functional threshold power is 200 watts, and that means that I can hold that for an hour. And then at 2 hours though, my best watts I could hold would be like 150. Well, that's a pretty big drop off, 25% from an hour to 2 hours. So I would say that your stamina is fairly low. And then maybe if you went to 3 hours, it may even drop off to 125. It may drop off even more.
Right.
So we have to think about that from that perspective of saying, well, how do we increase our ability to maintain a high level of power for as long as we can? Okay, of course, 200 watts for an hour is that, but can you hold 180 for the next 2 hours after that 200 watts, or can you hold 170? What can you do and to extend that stamina farther out? And that's, I think, an important component to really start to work on, especially in that March, April time frame, is how do we extend that?
That's really great. I have never used that word in my coaching, nor have I ever thought of it. But
Okay.
it makes total sense. I have explained that part, like the
Mhm.
stamina part, like this, the description that you're talking about, but I never attached it to stamina.
Okay.
And now I'm going to.
There you go. There you go.
I like, because I'm always like, wouldn't you like to be working a lot harder and keep your heart rate lower? Like, I guess maybe that would be stamina too. Like you can push your
Do it for
threshold
longer.
and keep
Right.
your heart rate low. And then that's what you ultimately want to be able to do is,
Right.
work a
More.
lot harder, but keep your heart rate lower. And would that be part of stamina as well?
Well, that's a
Or
little
that's
bit, I
something
mean,
different?
that's something different. So think of stamina in terms of time, right?
Okay.
It's time, right? What you're talking about is more of both
Fitness?
economy and
Oh,
efficiency. Okay, so this is kind of a great little, and you gotta love the English language, right? I mean, oh my God, our language is so horrible, right? It's like,
well,
there's so many
before you
different.
get into this economy, I've never used that either until, I don't know if you've seen Joe Friel's book.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So he uses that word a lot. And I'm
Yeah,
like, economy, instead of efficiency,
right.
it's economy.
Yeah,
And I was just like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
No, that's
Yeah.
important. That's an important distinction. So think
Yeah.
of economy, right? So an easy way to think of this is economy is everything that I'm doing outside of my body. Okay, so
Okay.
economy is, uh, I'm I'm creating more power, and I have to eat less, right?
Yeah.
It's just like the economy, like miles per gallon, right? How
Yeah.
far can my car go on
Uh-huh.
on a gallon of gas, right? How far can
Yeah.
I go on a energy bar? But
Yeah.
it's, so it's like economy of motion, right? So it's like, what is your cadence, right? We have a cadence that allows us to have the most amount of power with the least amount of energy. Okay, so that's an important thing that we all strive for. What's our
Mm-hmm.
economy of just being on the bicycle, right? We want to be economical so that we fit the bicycle correctly and we're not using too much energy just to sit there and pedal. So
Right.
everything that happens outside of your body is really economy. Think about pedaling itself, right? A lot of times this is where people mistakenly say pedaling efficiency. Well, it's not really. It's really pedaling economy. Like you can't, unless you thought internally, like unless we we put ball bearings inside your ankle and made your ankle joint, you know,
Okay,
more,
I gotta start changing my verbiage.
right?
Because that would be me. And then I listened to him and I was like, whoa,
Right.
okay. Yeah,
Right. So
it's totally different. Yeah.
totally different. So think about efficiency then as everything internal in your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything is internal. So
Okay.
efficiency is going to be more capillaries in your muscles, right? It's
Right.
going to be
Okay.
the stroke volume in your heart. You can pump more blood, right? It's going to be the interaction between uh, getting the oxygen in your from your lungs into your blood. It's going to be more mitochondria in your cells. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
be um, more suppleness in your muscles because you're doing yoga, right?
Right.
It's going to be all of those things. It's internal to the body. There's some things that cross over, but in general, you're always going to be safe with just saying, well, gosh, it's internal to my body, then that's going to be efficiency. So what you're talking about in terms of more power for lower heart rate, then that truly is going to be efficiency, right? So
Right.
that
Okay.
means that, right, I can, well, so actually that's a good point. It's a good thing we want to clarify. So it's actually
Yeah, let's
both.
clarify
It's actually
all of
both.
the coaching verbiage that's out there because, like, clearly I'm a little bit wrong, and I'm sure I'm not the only one.
It's not simple, right? Because that one actually is both, right?
Yeah.
Because one, you've got efficiency, because guess what now, right? You have trained your body, and so you've caused improvements internally so that your heart rate is lower than what it was for the same power before.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's efficiency. But you've also caused economical improvements, because now your heart doesn't have to beat as fast and you're producing more power, so you are using less energy as well. Okay, so that example is both things, and so that's where it kind of gets complicated and people get confused, like, what is it? I don't know.
I love this. That was great.
Well,
I'm
thanks.
taking notes. I hope everybody else is taking notes, because this is really good stuff. I'm gonna have to re-listen to this, because yeah, so
Right.
lowering the heart rate in order, or so you can pedal faster at a lower heart rate. So that's both the economy of your pedal form, right?
Right.
And then
Yep.
the internal part is the heart rate being lower. Like you've trained your heart rate to be stronger.
Right, right. Because, like, think, your heart is a muscle, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it
Yeah.
doesn't get physically bigger like the muscles when we do bicep curls or whatever. But
Yeah.
what happens is, think of the internal part of the heart, right? It
Mm-hmm.
just gets, the walls get thinner, and so it actually expands, the inside. So now that's called stroke volume. So we can get more blood
Oh.
in just because the walls are thinner. And that's the way you become more efficient.
Oh. Okay. So, because I would have thought it would be the reverse, because I'm thinking muscle development, muscle gets bigger as you develop more muscle. So it's like, your heart would get stronger, get bigger. But in
Mm-hmm.
essence, the walls get thinner. So you have more volume inside to move the blood around. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yes.
Wow. That's
Yay.
so cool.
Yeah, it's
Oh, this
pretty
one's
cool.
cool. Listen to me. I need to really go into biology now. But no, this is no. Sorry. Like, how could she possibly be a coach? But
Now,
the thing
this
is
is,
that, like, I keep learning. I keep learning great things.
that's what we got to do, right? We always
Yeah.
keep learning. Let's
So I
keep
had a
learning.
little bit of the right stuff. I just didn't have it
Yeah.
all down. But the thing is, it's the verbiage. And I could say, like I was saying, it just came across the different ways of, economy. Like, I was like, that sounds really strange. It does sound like a car. Yeah, but it does make sense when you're talking about that. All right. I just had to
Cool.
start another page of notes, because I was kind of like taking over. I was like, I think I better dedicate a full page to this one. All right. So now we're talking about transition. I don't know if we got off topic, but I'm kind of glad we did. And I'm personally glad. I don't know about anybody else who's listening, but and we are also talking, I'm sure, like in Canada, gravel's making a massive takeover of, I think maybe we talked about this a little bit the first time, where things were kind of shifting on the road, on the road front. But what's your perspective on gravel?
Yeah, I
Loving
mean,
it?
yeah, it was funny, right? Because at first I really poo-pooed it. I was like, oh man, that's
Yeah, me
silly.
too. I'm like,
Why would I want to do that? I mean, I like riding on the road. It's fast, and then I like riding mountain bikes because
yeah.
it's cool trails and stuff. Why would I want to ride on gravel roads? That doesn't sound like fun.
And then you're the
And
only
so,
one sitting there without a gravel bike. You're like,
right,
okay, I guess I should join the group. I'm having a little
so
FOMO now.
right, exactly. So, you know, I think what's been fun for me is, one, it's opened up new routes. I mean, I've been
Mm-hmm.
riding around the roads that I've lived on for 30 plus years, right? So I've ridden every single road, but not these gravel roads before. So that's been kind of fun, right? To just do that. Two, it gives you a gravel bike, gives you almost the same speed as your road bike. You've got a little more rolling resistance there, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but it's almost as fast as your road bike. So you get the speed. I mean, for me, I've got a speed problem. I love going fast, so
Me
I
too.
love doing it. So,
I'm good with it.
um, yep. So I get almost the same speed as my road bike. And then when I get on a gravel road, I'm also still really fast on the gravel road. Whereas if I was on my mountain bike, I'd be slow on the road and then
Mm-hmm.
still kind of slow on the gravel too. Um, and then the third thing for me is you can do almost like I've ridden some mountain bike trails on my gravel bike, and it's not like really fun. It's not like, oh wow, I'm bombing these downhills
Yeah,
on my gravel,
right.
right? Because you don't have suspension, you got to worry about, you know, smacking stuff and things like that. But it's like, wow, you know, if I did this road to this trail and then back to this road, then all of a sudden it opens up a whole totally new other loop that I would have never been able to do or wanted to do on my mountain bike or could have
Right.
done with my road bike. But I can make it work on my gravel bike. So those three things have really gotten me excited about gravel.
Do you find that there's more interest in doing gravel, like group rides over road now? Just maybe basically because of less traffic, safety safety
Yeah,
precautions.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's another one, right? Is just the fact that now it's just less traffic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not going to be in the traffic at all on these gravel roads. You just hardly see anybody on these gravel roads, and people are going slower if they're driving gravel roads. And it's not like you can text and drive while you're going down a gravel road, you know. So hopefully
Quite a good
not.
point there.
Don't text and drive. Um, so I think that's also a safety factor. It's been really nice to do that. And, it was kind of like the first couple of times I went and rode on gravel was you kind of forgot about like cars. And you're like, wow, you know, gosh, I didn't even think about cars that whole time I was on that gravel section. Then you jump back out on the pavement. You're like, okay, where's the car? You know, like
Yeah,
where
like we can't take up the whole road now. We got to go back into like a single line echelon or like double. I know
totally.
I just see all the pictures as I haven't been gravel riding yet. So I was like holding off, but I reached out to a buddy of mine who makes his own frames here and he paints them. And I'm like, okay, this is what I want. I want like a gravel bike, but I still want to do road races and like crits. So do you have like something that's like, that's like, and he's like, well, yeah, I do actually. So
Nice.
I haven't got it yet, but apparently he's got this hybrid road racing kind of gravel bike. So I'm like,
That's super cool. That sounds awesome.
yeah, I'll send you a picture for sure, and I get it painted to whatever color I
Definitely.
want
Cool.
too. Yeah, which makes it exciting because then some people do some weird stuff with road bike, like their paint jobs. I'm like, I don't know if I want flamingos on there, but if it suits you, that's okay. So do you find that there's a big kind of push to, well, not push, but like more gravel events coming out in your area? Like, is there a
Oh,
whole series? Because I know there's one here, but it didn't go this year. I suspect things will lighten up this summer. We're all hoping. But what's it like in your neck of the woods?
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that this past year there were so many that were scheduled that didn't happen. It was
Mm-hmm.
really exciting. It was like, wow, these things are everywhere in the Virginia, North Carolina, and West Virginia area. And so, to me, I think that it's going to make a huge difference this year if we see all these events that didn't happen last year that are going to happen this year. I really hope so because they're super fun. You know, I mean, I've only done, you know, one local event, and then I had my camp. I have a couple of gravel camps, which
Oh
are,
yeah, we'll have to talk about those in a second.
yep. And then I went out to Utah this past fall and did the Belgian waffle ride in Utah, which was a
Oh,
huge gravel event, and
mm.
it was super duper fun. I mean, really, really fun event, and so I think they're going to be great just to do. I mean, it's just a fun thing to do.
Do you know any of the organizers? Like, are they kind of amping, like getting ready with, you know, new protocols and of safety measures? Because I know here
Mhm.
in Quebec, they were able to get some World Cup races, maybe not World Cup, like,
Yeah.
I don't think they're World Cup, but don't quote me anyways, maybe like more mountain bike, because it's kind of
Right.
like an individual, and BMX.
Hmm.
And but they went through a lot of organizing, and
Right.
safety, and, you know, cleaning and all sorts of things, like, and, you know, really I think like the social part, it was just absolutely removed. Everything was online, low for registrations. You just roll up, do your event, kind of leave,
Yeah.
wait for the results. And but I think it's probably going to be like that if if it happens this year, just because. Is that kind of the same? Do you get the same feel that that's kind of?
Right. So I think that you can definitely do it really well.
Mm-hmm.
The Belgian waffle ride, I thought, did a really great job. I mean, they had, um, you know, kind of staggered times when you had
Right.
registration. Obviously, everybody was wearing masks and stuff, and you
Mm-hmm.
did registration at the event. So
Oh,
that was really, really good. It was, you know, open air, out in the
right.
air, so not in a closed area. Um, that was excellent. Then the day of the event, they had us in 50-person pods.
Okay.
And we were supposed to be kind of separated, which, you know, you're kind of separated on bicycles anyway. It's not like
Yeah.
you're you know, standing packed in like you're at a rock concert or anything.
Or a
Um,
marathon.
right, exactly. And wearing a mask, but, you know, it's a freaking gravel ride. You need a buff anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's like,
I mean, there is this thing called dust.
yeah,
Um,
and dirt and.
so so you need that anyway. You know, and then we all took off at the same time. Now, once we kind of went around the corner, all the 50 groups just kind of went back together.
Well,
um,
it looked good for the picture, I'm sure.
they looked good for the picture. Um, but, you know, I just, you know, and it was fine. I mean, I have no idea if anybody got COVID from that or not. I don't know. I
Yeah.
have no clue. But I mean, you know, we're going down the road at 30 miles an hour in this huge peloton of 1,000 people. I mean, we are rolling down the road. And so once we hit the gravel sections, it just got spread apart all over
Yeah.
creation.
Yeah.
Um,
Or a
and then
hill.
in all the rest, yeah, or a hill, exactly. Um, and then at the rest stops, you know, they all had their masks on. I think they were doing a pretty good job of being safe, and so that was good. I mean, could they
How
have
long
done?
was it?
They had 100. Well, I did the 75 miler, and they have a
Okay.
125 miler that they do. So there was a bunch of different. There were two different routes that you can do.
Right.
I think that, you know, doing it is totally doable. You just have to kind of put these things in place and say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we're just going to organize it in a different way,
Yeah.
and make sure that it's done. And like my gravel camps, you know, I had you know, 3 camps this past year, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, we were careful. I mean, we were spread apart, and I have a pretty big studio, and we're spread apart in that. And then outside, we're, you know, kind of outside away from other people. And you know, we've always had really hardcore kind of sanitary protocols when we stop
Mm-hmm.
for food and stuff. Nobody can touch the water containers, and nobody's allowed to rummage through the food and stuff. So I have my support people do that. And that way,
Yeah.
You start spreading, you know, because we all wipe our nose with our gloves and stick your hand down in the, you know, stuff. You
Yeah,
know,
that's right.
yeah. So anyway.
Share bottles.
Yeah. Yeah. So it can totally be done. It can totally be done and done in a way that I think is safer.
How long was your camp?
We have my fall road was 4.5 days, and then my 2 summer camps were 5 days. So that was great.
Cool. So you can find that on Training Peaks Coaching.
No, Peaks Coaching Group. Peaks
Coaching Group. Sorry, guys.
I know.
Peaks
It's confusing, right? Because there's Peaks Coaching, and then there's Training Peaks Software. So just keep in mind, you know, Training Peaks is the software company that I was one of the founders of.
That's what I do. Peaks Coaching Group.
The software, but Peaks Coaching, yeah, is our.
And it's exactly what I have there. I don't know what I said. Maybe I just got it all mixed up.
We get calls every day. How do I fix my software?
You're like, well, just join my group. Exactly. You don't have to worry about it. Right. Oh my God, that's awesome. Well, I know that we're all looking forward to this this year. Coaches and racers, but I do love the fact that like you said, these next 3 years could be pinnacle years for just a rebirth of cycling. Yeah. And I hope that I hope that your group grows because of it, and your client base, and other people. And when people hear this podcast, maybe start them thinking about what's going on in their area and how that they can make it accessible for, maybe it is starting a new club, but it's work to make it run well and to make sure everybody's safe and looked after, just from experience. But there is a huge potential this year to really, there's a lot of, I think diamonds in the rough are going to be out there on their bikes to prospect for teams.
I would agree, 100%.
Yeah, because a lot of other sports are not happening, like the soccer players and those hockey players, and they've got big engines and they need somewhere to be competitive. So, but all right, we're almost at the top of the hour there, Hunter. Oh my gosh, this went fast. I need to come down to one of your training camps.
That'll be awesome. You should totally do that.
When's your next one? Fun. You want to share that?
We are doing, we're doing the very next one is going to be in Florida in February. So I've got a women's only camp in Florida. Yep. So
where?
Really fun. In Claremont, Florida.
Oh, yeah. That's the triathlon training center.
Yep. Good memory. And that's a great place to ride in Florida.
I heard it's the only hilly area.
It is the only hilly area in Florida. And that's in February. Then the first week of April, I have my spring gravel camp. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then the third week of April, that's in Virginia. And then also back in Virginia is our road camp. And that'll be, gosh, I think it's our 24th year. Yeah, it's our 24th year of road camp, which is mind-boggling to me. I've been doing this for so long. It's pretty crazy. So it's fun. It's fun.
I wonder if we can get over the border. I know if we come back, like it's all quarantining stuff,
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so.
Yeah. Do you ever have Canadians come down there? You must.
Oh, tons. Yeah.
I know, because usually there's always large groups that go down to Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina to ride February, March. Even I was going to do one last year, and it was supposed to start at the beginning of April. That didn't happen. in April. It's just like nobody wants to take a chance right now. But if you're in the States and you're listening to this, you better get yourself to his training camps. And again, it's peakscoachinggroup.com. peakscoachinggroup.com. Or you just Google Hunter Allen and you'll find
pretty much. Just
you'll find everything you need to know.
Type my name into Google, I'm there.
That's right. So with that, we're going to bring it to an end. Thank you so much. It's been such an honor. And I forgot to mention, guys, he is an international, well, no, bestseller, training and racing with power.
Yes.
That was, yeah.
Yes.
So if you guys, if you need to learn about that, so you get to make sure your economy is good and your endurance base building is good and you're training properly with your power meter. And if you don't understand it, then you just hire him.
Exactly.
You just go to his website, go, coach me. This is my goal.
That's it.
And yeah, so it's always great. I'm so grateful that that we're friends.
Absolutely.
And that coming on, you know what, maybe I might have to sign up. Do you need a female coach to help down there?
Heck yes, that'd be great.
Oh my gosh, sign me up. I will quarantine when I get back. Doesn't matter.
All right, there you go.
I will even drive down. And I've driven down 13 hours to Virginia to help with training camps for juniors. That was interesting. Nice. I got to ride with them.
Wow.
Yeah. Mountain bike juniors.
Yikes.
I was there for the girls, to help with the girls. But yeah, so thanks to our listeners. Please remember to subscribe and comment, and if you can put a review on Apple Podcasts, that would be so appreciative. We want to drive this podcast up to the top because it's all about things that are cycling related, and love to bring in different people like Hunter and anybody who has anything to do with cycling that's doing phenomenal uniques. And also, like I said, don't forget to share away. And thank you so much, Hunter. Anyways, I'm just going to cut it off because I could say thank you 100 times.
All right.
Don't remember, our podcasts are also published 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon. So add those notifications, and also don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel because all of these end up there live, so you can actually see us and listen to us, which is sometimes better because then you can kind of, you get to see what we look like. You can see Hunter's house. Look at his house. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at those windows. With that, have an amazing day. We'll see you later on the next episode. Bye.
Yeah.